Hello from Seoul. Are you looking at the takeout menus for ordering some chicken teriyaki? Please throw that away. What? You're looking at the app? Then sorry about that. Just never mind. Anyway, chicken teriyaki is not a thing only restaurants can make. It's way easier than you think, so you can do it. And if you do, I'm pretty sure you will taste the best chicken teriyaki that you ever had. Alright, are you guys ready? Let's get started. As I said earlier, chicken teriyaki is super easy to make, so even if you're not a good cook, you can even make it within 5 minutes. However, to do that, you need to make delicious teriyaki sauce in advance. So let's make the sauce first. What? Sounds difficult? Don't worry about it. As always, with me, nothing's gonna be a problem, so buckle up. For this, you will need onion, green onion, garlic, and ginger. What? Too many ingredients? Don't worry about it. You can skip all of these aromatics because they're not the main star of the show. They're more like assisters to make it as close to the restaurant quality. So if you don't have them, just skip them. Don't worry about it. Still gonna be good. First, let's start with some green onion. Roughly chop it, but only the white part. Next, onion. I'm just gonna use a quarter of an onion. Once you're done that, place them on a baking sheet with 3 to 4 cloves of garlic and a chunk of ginger. Now let's pop these under the broiler for about 10 minutes or until nice and charred. If you don't have a broiler, then just grill them in a dry pan. That's totally fine. Meanwhile, in a saucepan, let's add 1 cup of soy sauce, 1 cup of mirin, half a cup of sake, and half a cup of sugar. Keep adding all your veggies and bring it to a boil over medium heat. Once it comes to a boil, reduce it down to low heat and let it simmer for about 10 more minutes. If you just keep it on the high heat, it may get too salty and bitter, so you may not get that pleasant sweetness from your teriyaki sauce. So please let the simmer on a gentle heat. Also, during the simmer, you shouldn't really walk away because it can easily overflow. If that happens, this 5-minute teriyaki chicken will take more than an hour to clean your stove. You don't want that to happen, right? Once the sauce is reduced by 2/3, remove it from the heat, and when it's completely cooled, just put it in a jar or bottle, and there you have it, your homemade teriyaki sauce. As you can see, it's not that difficult, right? But it will be much better than the store-bought teriyaki sauce. Now with this amazing sauce, let's make chicken teriyaki. For this, you will need chicken, green onion, and some cabbage. First, let's chop some green onion, but only the white part. When this nice and thick green onion meets the fat from the chicken, trust me, it will taste phenomenal. So please don't skip the green onion. Next, slice some cabbage. As I said in the previous video, if you're not confident with your knife skills, you can use a vegetable peeler. That's totally fine. And once you're done that, please soak them in cold water. Otherwise, by the time you serve this, you will be met with some unappetizing thing as a garnish. So don't skip this step. Lastly, let's prep our main ingredient, chicken. Trim off any excess fat that you may want to remove, but leave the skin on. Today, I'm using boneless chicken thigh because this is normally used for chicken teriyaki, but if you prefer chicken breast, please go ahead and use that. No problem at all. Once you're done, season both sides with salt and pepper. You could have made a marinade with the teriyaki sauce, but let's keep it simple this time. I know you like that more. After that, coat it with some potato starch. You don't have potato starch? Then you could also use cake flour. Don't worry about it. They both will give you a more crispy texture and help the chicken absorb more of our fantastic teriyaki sauce. And that will be absolutely amazing. Alright, our chicken is ready. Let's get cooking. Put some oil in a pan and place it over medium-low heat. Once it gets nice and hot, place your chicken skin side down, and then add the green onions. When the green onions are nice and charred, remove them from the pan and set them aside. And once you've got good color on one side, flip them over and gently cook the other side for another couple of minutes. Are you nervous about your chicken being undercooked? Don't worry about it. Just put a lid on. That's gonna help. When it's golden and crispy on both sides, change the heat to low heat and generously brush your teriyaki sauce all over the chicken. You could just add the sauce into the pan pan. But as you can see, it's gonna give you a more authentic vibe. And here's one more tip. When the fat from your chicken meets your teriyaki sauce, it's gonna be more flavorful. So don't forget to coat the outside with the sauce in the pan. Alright, our chicken is done. All you need to do is just slice it. How does it look? It looks so juicy and delicious, right? And it smells incredible, so I think Claire can't wait that long. She seems really hungry right now. So let's start plating. Put some cabbage on a plate and add some Kewpie mayo, tomatoes, and grilled green onions. If the cabbage and mayo is not enough for you, then drizzle some of that teriyaki sauce. Trust me, it will go so well with your cabbage. Lastly, place your chicken on the other side. How does it look? It looks fantastic, right? If you have this with a bowl of rice, you will feel on top of the world. Alright, let's call our taste tester.
Claire?
Ooh, teriyaki chicken? Honestly, I was not lucky enough to find the best teriyaki chicken place, or I have not tried enough. So hopefully this can be my new favorite. 치킨 위에 있는 이 소스가 봐. 윤기 나는 게 와, 장난 아니다. 알지? 나 닭껍질 별로 안 좋아하는 거. 근데 뭔가 맛있어 보이네? 한번 먹어봐야지. I can't wait to try. 와우. 장난 아니야. 이거 내가 알던 치킨 테리야키가 맞나 싶어. 대박, 진짜 맛있다. 일단 불맛이 엄청 강하게 나. 이 약간 소스도 살짝 탄 것이 그게 뭔가 너무 맛있는 것 같아. 그리고 다시 말하지만 내가 원래 닭껍질을 별로 안 좋아하잖아. 그 씹었을 때 그 물컹물컹거리는 느낌이 너무 싫었단 말이야. 근데 이거는 약간 크리스피하면서도 동시에 쫀득쫀득거려. 괜찮은데? One more bite. 와우, 진짜 맛있네. 소스가 단맛이랑 짠맛이 진짜 밸런스가 기가 막혀. This time I want to try the green onion because it looks amazing. I love it has a nice char on it. Ready? 말해 뭐해. 너무 맛있네. 진짜 이거 있으면 밥 한 공기 진짜 끄떡 없을 것 같아. More bites. 내가 맨날 어디 가서 치킨 데리야키 별로 안 좋아한다고 말했잖아. 이제 그런 말 하면 안 되겠다. 맛있다.
Do you like spicy food? So you wanna taste the real Korean spicy stuff? Then you came to the right place. But if you have an emergency code brown situation in the middle of the big night, like your first date, I'm not responsible. Alright, are you guys ready? Let's get started. Today, we are making Buldak, Korean fire chicken. It's kind of like this guy's ancestor, so you're gonna love it so much. But obviously, it's gonna be super hot and spicy, so make sure to brace yourself. Otherwise, you're gonna be that code brown situation guy. For this, you will need chicken, green onion, garlic, and chili pepper. And if you want to make it less spicy, get yourself a little bit of cheese. Spicy chicken and melted cheese, they'll be like a match made in heaven. What? You want to add some vegetables in here? Sure, you can put them, but because of the liquid from the vegetables, you might get confused if that's fire chicken or 닭갈비. So I don't really recommend it. First, let's chop some green onion, but we don't need much because this guy is not the star of the show today. It's gonna be your garnish. Sorry about that if I let you down. Next, garlic. Smash 2 cloves of garlic and finely chop them with your knife. You could also use a grater or just finely chop them, but if you give it a little smash like this, it will make your dish more fragrant. So if you haven't tried this technique, give it a try. You will see a difference. This time, let's chop some chili pepper. In Korea, there are many types of chili peppers, and this bad boy, which is called 청양고추, is super spicy. So I'm gonna just use only one. But if you wanna play a prank on somebody, I think you know what to do. Now let's make the sauce. For fire chicken, the most important thing is, of course, the sauce. And the key ingredient is obviously this gochugaru, Korean chili pepper flakes. Then what kind of chili pepper flakes should we use? Of course we should use extra spicy Korean chili pepper flakes, aka 청양 gochugaru. But if it's difficult to get this, or if it's too spicy for you, then just go for regular Korean chili pepper flakes. That's totally fine. In a mixing bowl, put 3 tablespoons of extra spicy Korean chili pepper flakes, 2 tablespoons of regular Korean chili pepper flakes, 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of chicken powder, 1 tablespoon of dashida Korean beef stock powder, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 2 tablespoons of mirin, 4 tablespoons of corn syrup, minced garlic, and a quarter teaspoon of black pepper. And then here comes the secret weapon, Sprite. I know some of you might say, what? Are you serious? Trust me, this bad boy will bring it to the next level. So please add 2 tablespoons of it. At this point, some of you might ask, Aaron, you're not gonna use gochujang, Korean chili paste? I'm glad you brought that up. Normally, in restaurants, they don't use gochujang for fire chicken. It's kind of their secret. But of course, you could add it if you want. But with gochujang, you can get that nice and smoky and kind of like light dry chili flavor. So I don't recommend using it. Lastly, the chicken. Depending on your preference, remove the skin and check if there's extra fat you might want to remove. And then cut it into bite-sized pieces. I'm using chicken thigh, but you can also use chicken breast. No problem at all. But when the fat from the chicken thigh meets our special sauce, it's gonna be amazing. So if it's first time to try this fire chicken, I highly recommend using this. At this point, you might expect I'm gonna marinate this chicken in the sauce. But no, I won't. Because if you marinate this, all the moisture from your chicken will make it more like 닭갈비, not fire chicken. So let's cook the chicken first. Put some oil in a wok and place it over medium-high heat. Once the wok is nice and hot, add in the chicken and pan fry them. If you want to look super cool, do flambe. But if you burn your house down, I'm not responsible. For information, if you cook this way, you're gonna get some oil splatter all around your kitchen. I'm okay with that because I have Claire. But if you don't have someone like Claire, then cook your chicken in boiling water and combine it with the sauce. After that, all you need to do is heat the grill. That is ideal. Once it gets nice and brown, change the heat to medium heat and add the chili peppers and the sauce. Here, you have to be very careful because chili pepper flakes burn so easily. If that happens, all your efforts will come to nothing. So stop thinking about your boyfriend or leftover sandwich in your office. Once it's completely cooked, transfer it to a serving plate. You still want that smoky flavor from the grill? Then take out your blowtorch or scissor. Well, it's not necessary, but I just did it because it looks cool, right? Now top it off with a good amount of cheese and put it into an oven. You don't have an oven? Don't worry about it. Just microwave it for about 1 minute. No problem at all. Once that's done, sprinkle some green onions on top. That's it. Just by looking at the cheese, you can already tell it's amazing. Alright, let's see how it tastes.
Claire?
Woo! I love chicken, I love spicy food, and I love cheese. 이거 완전히 나를 위해 태어난 음식인 것 같아. 위에 치즈 녹은 거 봐. 진짜 맛있어 보인다. 막 무서워 보일 줄 알았는데 너무 맛있어 보여. Are you ready for the cheese pool? Look at the steam and cheese. For information, 불 means fire and 닭 means chicken. So it literally means fire chicken. It's gonna be so hot and spicy. I can't wait to try. 간다. 처음에 먹었을 때는 내가 기대했던 정도의 강도가 아니어서 별로 안 매운데? 이러려고 그랬는데 뒤에 끝부분에가 이게 뭔가 치고 올라오네. 맛있다. 그렇다고 막 미친 듯이 매운 건 아니어서 견딜만해. 괜찮은 것 같아. 양념이 너무 맛있네. 매콤하고 달콤하고 거기다 치즈의 그 고소함이 싹 들어가니까 너무 궁합이 너무 좋아. Look at the sticky and glossy sauce. It's so nice. 근데 좀 맵부심이 있잖아. 나의 기준에 한 10에서 한 7 정도인 것 같다. 적당히 매우면서 딱 맛있는 정도다. 내가 얼마나 불닭을 좋아하냐면 옛날에 소개팅을 나갔는데 뭐 먹을래요? 뭐 먹으러 가실래요? 이렇게 물어보잖아. 그래서 나는 처음 본 사람이랑 불닭을 먹으러 갔어. 보통 땀나니까 이런 식 잘 안 고르는데 난 어쩔 수 없었어. 포기할 수가 없었어. 근데 불닭이 맛있었던 건 기억이 나는데 그분에 대한 기억은 없어. 그 정도로 아무튼 좋아한다고. 내가 늘 밥을 달라고 하지만 오늘은 주먹밥이다. 불닭은 주먹밥이지. 대접에다가 밥 한 공기 싹 넣고 소금 조금, 설탕 조금, 참기름 조금, 김가루 왕창 해가지고 중요한 건 거기다가 이 불닭을 조금 넣은 다음에 가위로 이렇게 잘라가지고 잘게 잘라가지고 오물조물 주먹밥을 만들어서 먹으면 세상 다 가진 느낌이거든. 주먹밥을 대령해라!
쌀이 없어.
어떻게 밥이 없을 수가 있어? Shame on you. Guys, don't forget to serve with rice ball. Shame on him.
Let me guess, you're craving some nice and crispy fried chicken, so you spent 30 minutes driving and got some takeout. But when you got home and opened the box, there was cold and soggy fried chicken, unlike your expectation. But what if I say you can make the ultimate crispy fried chicken at home within 20 minutes? What do you say? Today we're making chicken katsu, Japanese style crispy fried chicken. Yes, that's right, it's basically the same as tonkatsu that you might have had at Japanese restaurants. But with chicken, it'll be like 10 times easier than the pork version. So if you're a beginner cook, now it's time to give it a shot. You will need chicken, egg, flour, breadcrumbs, and cabbage. For information, I'm gonna use this cabbage for the side dish. So if you're not a big fan of cabbage, you can use other vegetables, no problem at all. First, let's prep the chicken. Today, I'm using chicken breast, but if you prefer chicken thighs, go ahead and use it. As you guys already know, Claire loves chicken breast. That's why I'm using this. That's right, this is how I survive. If you're married or going to get married soon, remember, this is reality. Now, if you look at your chicken breast, you will find it's not even in thickness, which means when it's deep fried, some parts might be overcooked, but others might be undercooked. So let's make it even. How? Just put it in a plastic bag and pound it up with a meat mallet, saucepan, or wine bottle. It's been a tough week? Then even your fist will do the job. So don't worry about it. But don't make this poor little chicken into mushy. It's not your boss. Once it gets nice and flat, season both sides with salt and pepper, but not too much, because we're gonna make a dipping sauce anyhow. Now for the breading station, take out some trays and fill them with flour, eggs, and some panko breadcrumbs. What? No panko? Don't worry about it. Just use leftover bread and put them in a food processor. You wanna know one secret? That'll be more delicious. Now let's grab a piece of chicken and toss it in the flour. Make sure it gets all around and shake off the excess. And then move on to the egg and breadcrumbs. Here, you need to cover with a good amount of breadcrumbs and gently press it down so that it can't stick to the surface. Otherwise, you might end up with some naked cutlets that nobody wants. Alright, the chicken is ready. Let's get cooking. The best temperature for this guy is 160 to 170 degrees Celsius or 320 to 340 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you reach the temperature, add in the chicken. Depending on the size of your chicken, fry for about 6 to 8 minutes. Here, do not overcrowd the pan and do this in batches, like 1 or 2 at a time would be perfect. Otherwise, you will lower the oil temperature too quickly. That means you can't get this kind of perfectly cooked chicken katsu. Once your chicken is done, take it out and let it rest on a cooling rack. This way, the excess oil will drain off and give you that light and crispy texture. You don't have a cooling rack? Then just put your chopsticks on a plate and place your fried chicken on top of them. That will totally work. Meanwhile, let's prep the cabbage. When you go to a Japanese restaurant, you always get some shredded cabbage as a side dish, right? That's what we're gonna do. So you need to slice it as thinly as possible. You're not confident with the knife skills? Then just grab a vegetable peeler. It's gonna be way easier. Once you're done, soak them in cold water and set it aside. Now for the dressing, you can actually use your personal favorite because making your own dressing is quite inefficient. What? You wanna see my version? Alright, let me show you an amazing sesame dressing. First, with a mortar and pestle, grind 3 tablespoons of toasted sesame seeds. And then add 1 tablespoon of sugar, 5 tablespoons of Kewpie mayo, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, a half tablespoon of toasted sesame oil, a pinch of salt, and give it a good mix. What? You're on a diet? So no mayonnaise? Then you can replace it with some yogurt. Still gonna be good. Next, let's make a dipping sauce. Put 6 tablespoons of ketchup, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, a half tablespoon of oyster sauce, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and give that a good mix. That's it. Alright, everything is ready. Let's start plating. Put some cabbage on a plate and add some rice. For a little bit more color, I'm gonna add some tomato and black sesame seeds. It looks way better, right? And then slice up our chicken and place it on the other side. That's it. It's absolutely easy, right? But the taste is not gonna be simple. Alright, let's go to our taste tester.
Claire.
Wow! Ooh. Looks like it just came out of a Japanese restaurant. 대박! 오, 냄새도 기가 막힌다. 완전 맛있겠는데? I'm super excited. Let me try. 요거 먹어봐야겠다. 통통하니 엄청 맛있어 보인다. 우후. Dip it in the sauce. Ooh. It's super thick. Ready? 와, 잘 튀겼네. 대박. 와, 이거 진짜 닭가슴살로 한 거 맞아? 속이 엄청 촉촉해. 장난 아니야. 진짜 그냥 말하는 게 아니야. 엄청 촉촉하고 겉에는 그 빵가루 때문에 하나하나리 막 이렇게 입에서 톡톡톡 터지면서 엄청 바삭거려. 대박. 진짜 맛있다. 괜찮다. 오 마이 갓. 이거 자기 거. 소스가 되게 새콤하니 되게 맛있네. 이 기름진 음식에 요 새콤한 소스가 들어가니까 전혀 기름지지 않고 그 입맛을 확 끌어주는 매력이 있는 것 같아. 너무 맛있는데? yes. 너무 맛있다. Again, more bites. 진짜 거짓말하는 거 아니고 여태까지 먹어봤던 닭가슴살 중에서 제일 촉촉한 것 같아. 거의 무슨 수비드를 한 것 같아. 완전 괜찮네. And I need to try some salad because I know Aaron made the dressing. 오, 위에 뭔가 깨가 막 엄청 많이 있는 게 느껴진다. 단순한 소스가 아니구만. Ready? 사 먹는 거랑 확실히 다르네. 엄청 꽃이다. It's so fragrant. Aaron always says chicken thighs are more flavorful, but I don't know. I just love the white chicken breast better, especially when it's deep fried like this. It is so moist and tender on the inside. So if you're not a big fan of chicken breast, why don't you try this out? It's not gonna be boring anymore. By the way, where's the miso soup? I need some miso soup.
What if I say you can make another Japanese dish with this cutlet? For those of you, I brought this chicken katsu. For this, you will need egg, onion, green onion, a bowl of rice, and chicken cutlet. Everything you need is pretty much like in your pantry, right? So once you've made this chicken katsu, I really want you to give it a try. You will see yourself writing a comment like thank you. You're always welcome. First, slice a quarter of an onion. It doesn't have to be too thin, so you can go however thick you want. Next, chop some green onion for garnish. Once you're done, crack 2 eggs and mix this up. We still want some separation between the whites and the yolks because this will make your dish more beautiful. So please do not overstir this. Now for the sauce, we need dashi, Japanese soup stock. But to make dashi, you need this kind of bonito flakes and some dried kelp, which are a little tricky to work with. So today, I'm gonna use this hondashi. With this bad boy, you may think you should open a Japanese Japanese restaurant or something, because this makes everything easy and delicious. Put a quarter teaspoon of hondashi into 100 milliliters of water. Keep adding 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of mirin, a half tablespoon of sugar, and mix it all together. That's it. Couldn't be any easier, right? Alright, let's get cooking. Add the sauce and the onions into a pan and place it over medium heat. Once the onions get softened, place your chicken cutlet into the sauce and then pour the eggs all around the chicken. Lastly, sprinkle some green onions, cover with the lid, and let them steam for about 1 minute. When the eggs are slightly set, slide everything over the rice. How does it look? It looks exactly the same as the one in Japanese restaurants, right? What? Even better? Thank you. Alright, let's see how it tastes.
Claire?
오 대박. 위에 치킨 카츠 너무 귀여운 거 아니야? 도레미파솔라시도. Let me try. 이것도 치킨 카츠부터 먹어보겠다. 가운데 있는 이 녀석. 우후. 대박. Ready? 맛있네, 엄청. 오. 아까에 비하면 바삭한 맛은 확실히 떨어질 수밖에 없는데 얘네들이 소스를 짠뜩 흡수해가지고 너무 맛있는 맛이 확 입에서 퍼져. 너무 맛있다. 너무 촉촉하니 너무 맛있는데? 이번엔 밥이랑 먹어봐야겠어. Let me try with rice. I want to make it pretty. Lots of onions and egg. See? It looks super moist. Ready? 계란이 진짜 푹신푹신하니 너무 맛있어. 보기에는 계란이 다 익어 보이는데 중간중간 그 치킨 카스 사이사이에 계란이 반숙처럼 다 있어가지고 너무 부드럽고 맛있어. 닭가슴살은 원래 다이어트 할 때 먹는 건데 이런 식으로 맨날 먹었다간 큰일 나겠다.
Let me guess, you got some takeout and brought it home for your dinner. But when you open the box, unlike your expectation, there's cold, flavorless, and even overcooked chicken. However, what if I say you can make perfect Kung Pao chicken at home within 20 minutes from scratch? What do you say? Today, we are making Kung Pao Chicken, one of the most popular Chinese takeout dishes. The best thing about this is you can easily get the ingredients, and with a little bit of technique, you can make a restaurant quality Kung Pao Chicken at home. You will need chicken, green onion, garlic, ginger, peanuts, and dried chilies. That's it. Really simple, right? But for a bit of color, I'm gonna add some bell peppers here. You don't have these, but you have other vegetables, such as celery or zucchini. Don't worry about it. You can use them too. No problem at all. First, let's prep the vegetables. Normally, we use green onions to make our dish more fragrant, but in Kung Pao Chicken, they are mainly for the color and the texture. So instead of cutting it up too finely, let's chop them into nice little chunks. About a ½ inch would be perfect. Otherwise, they easily get mushy when you stir fry with other ingredients. Next, garlic. Smash 3 cloves of garlic and finely mince it with your knife. You can use a grater or just chop it into small pieces without smashing it, but I like this way better because this little action will make your dish more fragrant. So try this little technique, you will be surprised, and it makes you look super cool. This time, ginger. Finely mince 5 grams of ginger. If you have a tough critic and don't want to get harsh criticism because of this teeny tiny amount of ginger, then bring your grater and grate it as fine as you can. Or adding a little bit of ginger squeeze can be a good option too. For information, it's not my story. Guys, just listening. Next, dried chilies. Wipe the dust with paper towels and cut them into chunks. About the same length as green onion would be nice. Since mine is not too spicy, they're gonna just add a little bit of heat and make my chicken more fragrant. But if you put something like pepperoncino or Vietnamese chili pepper as much as I did, sorry about that. You will see yourself screaming in the bathroom the next day. So please add it after considering how spicy they are. Also, removing the seeds is a good way to reduce the spicy level. So if you don't don't want it to be too spicy, make sure to discard the seeds. As I said earlier, bell peppers are mainly for color, so I highly recommend using two colors, green and red. These guys will make your photos Instagram worthy. You're welcome. Now let's talk about the chicken. I'm using boneless chicken thighs, but if you prefer chicken breast because you need to get ready for summer, please go ahead and use that. But I'd rather go for this because it's more flavorful. Of course, I would hate myself in the past while doing heavy squats. I would. Cut 300 grams of chicken thighs into bite-sized cubes so they can be about the same size as the green onion. By the way, if you still worry about the summer, then please remove the skin and fat from the chicken. That's gonna help. Now for chicken, put some salt and pepper, 1 teaspoon of mirin, half of an egg white, 1 teaspoon of dark soy sauce, and give it a good massage. If you don't have dark soy sauce, you can just go for regular soy sauce. Also, instead of mirin, I was supposed to add Chinese Shaoxing wine, but I don't have it at the moment, so I replace it with mirin. So if you don't have mirin or Shaoxing wine, just use any kind of cooking wine or skip it. No problem at all. Once the chicken gets a little sticky, add 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch and mix everything together. And lastly, add a half tablespoon of cooking oil and give it a good mix. FYI, the reason why I added cooking oil here is it prevents your chicken from sticking together or sticking to the bottom of the pan while cooking. Pretty good tip, right? Alright, let's set it aside and move on to the sauce. In a small mixing bowl, put 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1.5 tablespoons of vinegar. If you want it to be sour, you can add a little more vinegar. And if you prefer sweet chicken, you can add more sugar. Remember, there's a guideline in cooking, but that's not an absolute rule or something. So please taste it and add more or less to suit your taste. Keep adding 1 tablespoon of soy sauce and 1 tablespoon of mirin. Again, any kind of cooking wine should be fine, so don't worry about it. And then a half tablespoon of oyster sauce, a half teaspoon of chicken stock, and a half tablespoon of cornstarch. Here, I need to add 3 tablespoons of water, but looks like the bowl is too small for that. So let me change it quickly and add 3 tablespoons of water. Lastly, a half tablespoon of Chinese chili bean paste. At this point, some of you might ask, Aaron, why do you add chili bean paste now? Aren't you supposed to stir fry it with the oil? Yes, you're right. They'll be more delicious. But if the cooking process gets much easier and simpler because of this, I dare say your cooking will become much more fun. Trust me, it will. Lastly, let's add a half teaspoon of dark soy sauce for some color and give it a good mix. It doesn't really affect the taste, so if you're okay with color, you can skip it. You'll be fine without it. Now let's get to cooking. Put a generous amount of oil into a wok and place it over medium heat. I'm using a little more than usual to show you how it works, but you can add a little less than this. Once it reaches 120 degrees Celsius or 250 degrees Fahrenheit, add in the chicken. As soon as you add in all the chicken, change the heat to high heat and please make sure to stir it occasionally so that they don't stick together. Some of you might wanna ask, Aaron, why do you deep fry? I thought we were gonna stir fry the chicken. I'm glad you asked. Actually, this is not ordinary deep frying. It's more like blanching the meat in the oil at low temperature. And this little technique will create an outer layer of the chicken, and that is gonna help keep the juice inside and make your chicken more tender. If you're using chicken breast, I highly recommend this technique. That will bring your chicken to the next level. But to be honest, this is not necessary. But to show you a restaurant quality Kung Pao chicken, I'm doing it. Here, we don't have to wait until it gets dark brown, so once it's cooked, take it out and drain the oil. This time, let's stir fry the peanuts. Heat up the pan over low heat. Add a little bit of cooking oil and some peanuts. As you toss it around, you will see they slowly turn nice and golden brown. If you cook this way, they will become more crunchy and fragrant. You wanna know one secret? Actually, I was supposed to deep fry these before the chicken, but I totally forgot. Sorry about that, it happens sometime. All the ingredients are ready now. Put some oil in a wok and place it over medium heat. Once the wok is nice and hot, add some dried chilies. And when it starts to turn light brown, add the chopped garlic, ginger, and stir fry them. Once they are fragrant, add the chicken into the wok and change the heat to high heat and then stir everything together. Since we cooked the chicken already, we don't need to worry that the chicken might be undercooked. Just 30 seconds will be enough. Now let's add the sauce and stir fry for about 1 minute. Since we put the cornstarch in the sauce, it will slowly get thicker as it cooks. Add the bell peppers, green onions, peanuts, and mix all together. Here, the vegetables should be nice and crunchy, so make sure to toss it around over high heat as fast as you can. That's the key. If you overcook, that will become mushy. Lastly, let's drizzle a half teaspoon of Sichuan peppercorn flavored oil. With this, you can feel the authentic vibes without Sichuan peppercorns. But if you don't want it to be too spicy or numbing, you can skip it. No problem at all. Now let's transfer it to a serving plate. It's done. What do you think? It's way much simpler than you think, right? Wanna know what it tastes like? Let's call our taste tester.
Claire.
Ooh, isn't it so beautiful? I can't resist it. 땅콩도 있고 닭도 있고. 오, 이거 좀 많이 넣어줬네. Ready? 맛있다. 근데 소스가 되게 맛있네. 소시한 게 이게 밥을 부르는 딱 그 느낌이고, 이건 닭만 먹었을 때 약간 심심할 수 있는데 확실히 야채랑 땅콩이 닭만 먹었을 때 그 심심함을 확실하게 채워주네. 땅콩이랑 야채의 역할이 크다 보니까 절대 생략하면 안 되는 것 같아. If you are allergic to peanuts, you should definitely replace it with other things like cashew nuts. Yeah, I think cashew nuts will definitely work. You should really try it. Don't skip it. 어김없이 오늘도 밥 좀 줘봐. I got my rice. 소스가 잔뜩 많아서 밥이랑 너무 잘 어울려. 밥을 부르는 맛이야 진짜. More bites. 맛있어. 엄청 화려한 맛은 아닌데 매일 먹어도 안 질릴 수 있는 그런 맛인 것 같아. 매운 걸 잘 못 먹어도 요 정도는 다 가능할 것 같아. You gotta try this. So good. 나 원래 닭가슴살을 좋아해가지고 자기가 닭가슴살을 안 쓰고 허벅지살을 쓴다고 했었을 때 조금 그게 마음에 안 들긴 했는데 이게 소스랑 진짜 잘 어울리네. 허벅지살이랑 맛있다. 굳이 내가 딱 한 가지 아쉬운 걸 뽑자면 미드에서 내가 많이 봤는데 말이야. 이게 테이크아웃으로 유명한 음식인데 그 상자에 이렇게 넣어가지고 이렇게 줬었으면 느낌 제대로 살지 않았을까? 아쉽다.